tremendous looking trophy.
Welcome to the number one PlayStation podcast in the Oceanias. My name's Dylan Blight. Joining me, Ashley Hobley.
Hey Dylan, excited to announce that we're going to be joining Mixer too. No, that's a conflict of interest, isn't it?
How's it a conflict of interest?
Because it's owned by Microsoft, and this is a PlayStation podcast.
You're right. You're right. You're right. If I suppose PlayStation would have to start their own streaming service and then pay us to come $50 million or whatever he got paid.
We'll go a bit lower.
Yeah, $5. At this stage. Actually, no, fuck it. How much is left for a Kurt Kofi go? About $3.50. Literally, that's all we need. I do want to, before we get stuck into the show, I suppose I'll quickly go over it. We are currently, and I will write up probably on the website. It will be on the website. I'll write up a blog post. We're currently trialing video versions of the show. So if you're watching the video version, you can obviously see that our face is now part of the show. What that means for the show changing, it means absolutely nothing. We're not, to pitch it this way, it is just the ability to watch the show with our faces, if that's the way you want to do it. But I'm not calling these podcasts video podcasts, you know? I'm not going to be adding in heaps of videos and gameplay in the background and all that sort of stuff because it simply requires too much time and effort, which I don't have. If I had the time and effort, sure, maybe one day that'll happen. Kofi.com to bring it back up again. But that's currently not how it's going to go. So we're currently going to be trialing it. And I say trialing because if after a month I'm like, we're like this, we hate it.
Nobody's watching these.
And it's like it's the amount of time and effort it requires is too much for the reward or whatever the numbers we're seeing in these sorts of things, then it'll be like, fuck it, whatever. If after a month I'm like, you know what, doesn't really require that much effort for this type of not much effort video show. And the plus side is I got some cool video snippets for Twitter and we got, the views increased slightly. Wasn't that much effort, then we'll continue doing them. And at that point, the only thing I'll put a little bit more effort into is just like cooler backgrounds for when the transition stuff comes in between segments and stuff like that. Because currently what it is very bland, but that's fine because we're testing it. So yeah, it's what's happening around. So that's that. That's the
audio listeners.
Nothing matters. You won't.
Sorry. Nothing changes.
Nothing will change other than that. So let's get stuck into it. This week on the show, Bronze Trophy. Ash's straight. We've got a workout award coming for Ash. We'll get into that. What's that mean? Silver trophy for PS Plus games. Sneak in a secret PSVR hit. A gold trophy. A new F.I.S.T trailer. Nearly wanted this entire episode to simply be about this new F.I.S.T trailer. If you only just started listening to the episode and you're like, what the fuck is F.I.S.T? Stay tuned because it's Game of the Year material. And then we hit a platinum trophy with Concrete Genie getting release date, and we have a special guest come join us on the show. Join me to tell us about what they've been playing for that. But first, let's talk about the PS Plus games. So PS Plus games for this month of August are
Pro Evolution Soccer.
Yeah, imagine that if they said. I actually did think that they would just stick it back in, but they didn't say.
There's still time.
Well, you're right. I suppose there is technically still time. You've got Wipeout Amiga Collection, Mega, however you say it, I guess, and Sniper Elite 4. I say decent month. Not like hallelujah, best month ever, but I think it's a very decent month, and I think if you own PSVR, it's a good month because Wipeout Amiga Collection, in if you're just playing it on your normal console, you're like, cool, it's some HD ports of Wipeout games. Don't really care. Fair enough. Sniper Elite 4, you're like, I don't really like stealthy sniper games. Cool. Maybe it's not an exciting month for you. If you got PSVR, Wipeout Collection in VR is a secret VR must play. It is pod racing the game. I talked about it whatever episodes ago when they first added the patch for it. If you play that shit in PSVR, it is the closest to a pod racing VR game that you're gonna get. It feels really good. They did a really great job with the VR patch, and I think for that alone, it's just one of those sneaky ones. It's like where sometimes they add in a Vita game and you don't have a Vita, but it's on PS4 as well, and you're like, oh fuck, I got a secret game over here. This is what's happening with the Amiga collection. It's a secret PSVR game coming in here. But what do you think of either of these? Are you keen to try either?
Yeah, I'm keen to try it. Wipeout. I mean, another racing game. We got a racing game last month, didn't we?
The Horizon Turbo thing. Yep.
Horizon Turbo. So yeah, that's okay. But Wipeout, obviously, it's got a long history. I mean, it's a core, I guess, a main franchise for PlayStation, or it's
like OG.
It's OG. I'd say it's OG. Yeah, that's a nice touch. Sniper Elite 4, I might give it a whirl, but I don't know. It's fine.
I got it on Steam for like $8 a month and a half ago because I never played one, and I was like, fuck it. When the Steam sales were on, and I look at these Steam sales, I go, nothing interests me anymore on these Steam sales ever. And I see Sniper Elite 4 for $8. I'm like, fuck it. I got to at least buy something in this whole sale. And I'm like,
I got to support this company.
Yeah, I better support this company. Yeah. But I was like, fuck, I've never played one of these games, and I'm really intrigued in that VR one that's coming out. Remember we was talking about a couple episodes ago, they're doing that VR one. And I'm looking forward to that because it's VR. And so I was like, oh, fuck it. I guess I'll try one of these. So at least I could go into the VR thing with some sort of knowledge of what to expect from the franchise. And I played about a couple hours, I think, and it's okay. I don't know if I'd go back to it if it's particularly up my cup of tea, but it's it's stealth, you shoot dudes in the head, whatever, it looks fine. There's not much of a story to it at all, whatever. Are you gonna try out Wipeout in VR?
Probably.
Gonna get you sick on?
I mean, it's there.
Yeah, get you sick on.
Got it. I might as well.
Yeah. Good. So if you do that by next week, we can
talk about it.
Get your thoughts on they'll come out. Yeah, so next week we can get your thoughts on that. Cool. That is PS Plus games for this month.
I can't let that happen.
Joining me now is Joel Gralton from Anygame.com. How are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
No problem at all. So, you were one of lucky few that got their hands on Concrete Genie recently. You wrote up a preview, which, of course, everyone should go check out. And I will have linked in the show notes down below, of course, for everyone to check out as well. So, Concrete Genie is coming from Pixel Opus, a smallish studio, I think, from what we know, a Sony Worldwide, SIE Worldwide Studios.
Yeah, only about 15 people, I believe.
And the only other game that they've done previously was Entwined, which was that one that they shadow dropped, or however you want to call it, at E3 that one year. The really weird, I don't know what you call it. It's like you were literally just going through this tunnel, and you were these two things, and it was like
a bird and a dragon, and one was light, and one was emotions.
It was one of those games. It's like there was subtext to it that if you got, then sure you got something out of it. I personally remember playing it and being like, this looks pretty, and I guess I enjoyed it for the couple hours I played it, but I didn't grab onto it entirely. But obviously Sony liked enough what they did there, and they had this idea for Concrete Genie, and it's I think the promotional period, or lack of promotional period, or whatever, lack of information for this game is kind of odd, and they've now announced that it's coming out on October 8th. And then now I've allowed a bunch of people to preview it, including yourself, obviously. So I think now's the time that we need to start talking about the game. They need to start getting information out there and such, because they originally showed it at Paris Games Week and was like, okay, this looks sort of interesting, but what is this? Is this like a little indie game? Is this a 2-hour experience? What is this? And then there was that PSX last year where they were like, oh, we're not going to show any games, we're not going to do anything, we're just going to have all these sit downs and talks. And the only thing they showed that was kind of new was they did show some of Concrete Genie. They did do a section of talking about it there as well. It's like, okay, here's Concrete Genie, here it is again.
Yep.
It's
and it was much the same kind of demo.
Same kind of stuff, yeah. So they've been showing it at really weird places, I've found. But do you want to explain for people, because you've played obviously and I haven't, what Concrete Genie is and what kind of game it is?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, it is a small Sony-owned studio, so it is a first-party game, but it's definitely not on the same AAA level as your Uncharted. Don't go in expecting that kind of level of visual fidelity, at least. But the developers have said, I think it was at a PSX or E3, it is about a 5 to 7 hour experience. So it could also explain the more budget kind of pricing for it as well. But based on playing it, it plays like your standard Sony kind of third-person action RPG. But as I mentioned not RPG, sorry, action adventure. As I mentioned in the preview, it kind of blends kind of what the two sides of Sony these days, where you got those really artistic kind of games like Media Molecules kind of side of things, as well as your more Infamous and your action adventure stuff. Because out of all of Sony's catalog, this probably is most in tune with Infamous. Not like the way you move, the collectibles throughout the little town that you're in as
Visual
well.
style, the colors,
yeah, it's very light based, so more in tune with Second Son, the latest Infamous. But yeah, so it is a good blend between your standard walk around collectible finding and the artsy side of things. You use the DualShock primarily throughout the game, unless you're playing the VR mode, which we can touch on later on if you want to, because the game is going to be VR supported as well, and does have a couple of modes that will use the PlayStation VR system for anyone that has that hat. But yeah, like what specifically did you want to know about the game?
So the original trailer thing that we saw for it kind of set up this story where the character you're playing as, what's his name?
His name's Ash.
Ash, yeah. Is getting bullied, I guess, by these kids around town. And I remember the original trailer kind of just showed up this thing where the whole world was very dark.
Yes.
And when the bullying was happening and all these sorts of things. But then when they performed, when they painted the picture, that helped them light it up, I guess. Very kind of...
That's your prime premise of the game. So that part that you're talking about is the very beginning of the game. So I got to play 3 different sections of the game. One was probably a solid hour or so right from the beginning of the game. So that happens right off the bat. The bullies kind of find you right after you've learned how to color in things inside your sketchbook using the DualShock, and then they come and take that sketchbook off you, rip out all the pages, and pretty much scatter them into the wind. So sets up a collectible loop right there, because you do find your pages throughout, and then your very first mission is to scale a lighthouse in the city of the town's called Denska. And yes, as you mentioned, it's kind of run down, kind of dilapidated. It's like a fishing town, and everything's kind of gone to shit. And it's your goal once you get to the top of the lighthouse, and you create your first Genie, which is these little sketchbook characters you can bring to life, and you can use the collectible pages that you've found throughout the town. Similar to if you played Little Big Planet, how you find the little bubbles, and one of them will be like a sticker, and then one of them will be like a knob, and then one will be like a something. The pages are those kinds of things. So you'll have like an ear or a horn or a certain tail, and when you're creating these genies, you can use the tail from any of the tails you've collected. So your genies can look completely different to someone else's, but they have the same abilities. Like they can push out like blocks that can be blocking an area, or light certain things on fire to be able to burn the wood so you can access a new area and things like that. And you're able to summon those in as you play, but they just run along the walls. So they're they don't actually come out of the wall and walk along with you. They travel within the wall. And yeah, once you reach the top of this lighthouse, that's when the game, they actually present you a map like he opens up a physical map, and then you can see, I've just lit up this area, and then your goal is to relight and rebring back to life all of Denska.
Yeah. So it's a openish area, or maybe like there's load screens between different subsections or something, I presume.
I didn't get load screens. I got like in between cutscenes, like you could tell it's probably loading stuff up, but otherwise I don't remember any real loading screens between like actually going through areas. But the town itself is probably medium-sized, but I don't know if the whole game takes place there, because as I said, it's probably about 5 to 7 hours, and I played about 1 of that part.
So the prime setup for the game is you're going to be, I guess, going around collecting these things and then potentially backtracking to areas using new abilities to get into new places
to new
and
areas.
so on and so forth.
Yep.
And collecting all those things. Is there combat in the game at all, and what are you fighting?
Yes, which surprised me. So the second section that I played was they skipped forward X number of hours. They didn't tell me. They just said you're not going to have much context for what's going on story-wise, but we wanted to showcase a bit of the combat. So based on the first hour or so that I played, the only kind of encounter that I had is those bullies kind of constantly stalk through the town. And they walk around and stuff. So while you're trying to either find pages or restore the lights to the sides of buildings or eliminate, there's like a Kingdom Heartsy kind of darkness that's growing on buildings and stuff, kind of like dark vines. You need to do something special to be able to remove those, but that's part of another one of the collectible kind of things as well, part of cleaning the town. But while the bullies are also stalking through the town at the same time, and if they find you, it's kind of like turns it into hide and seek, because you can't really take on the 5 bullies. But so then they skipped forward, and it surprised me because it went to a real boss battle that you would kind of expect out of a more combat-focused game. So based on the first hour, I thought it was going to be kind of more of a chill, artsy, no violence kind of deal.
Relaxing collectathon.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And hide when you need to. But then they skipped forward, and I was like, okay. So it played this boss battle, and like I said, I don't know how much further into the game it was, but it was clear that I had more abilities. So I was able to, Ash uses, or to paint, he uses this magic kind of paintbrush that he finds in the start of the game, and he can turn that over and kind of ride on the bristles, kind of like Infamous, where if you're riding on the power lines, but imagine that like freeform just on the ground. So you can zip-zack around, and you're doing that and in this battle had to locate the I would call it the creature first, and then he had a shield, and you had to use a certain attack that you could build up with your magic paintbrush, and then you could send out kind of like Harry Potter, like sparks, and attack him, or he's trying to get you, and you got to dodge his attacks at the same time. But yeah, I didn't expect it to have such a traditional kind of combat area, but it was surprising, and it felt all right to play.
It felt good. Did it feel easy, challenging, or?
Oh, it's fairly easy, battle? But I don't know if that was just scaled for the preview either. And I don't know if this was the first boss battle or at the end of the game of the boss battle, because it was still within Denska. But the thing, it used the whole town as the boss battle. You could freely, they call it paint skating. So it wasn't just you locked in a little area and you just had to run around in circles. Like this creature was running through the whole town.
It's interesting. So that does, I mean, if that's the first boss battle, it does ask questions of like, what happens then, I guess, after that, potentially if you leave Denska, if that's where you start out and stuff. So you're going around collectibles, and it's interesting for the combat thing, because until I read your preview, I'd never heard anything about combat either, obviously, and none of the trailers had showed any ideas of combat. They had teased the, sneaking around the bullies and this sort of stuff, but that's not what you'd exactly call combat. So I find it interesting, this combat coming into it now, because I'm like, was that originally part of the plan? Is that something maybe they changed development at some point and decide they needed to add a little bit more to it, I guess, other than just a collectathon? I want to talk about the art style and the stuff real quickly, because I think watching the trailer, as much as you can be like, oh, this is a budget trailer and stuff, I think this game looks absolutely gorgeous. But I'm watching a HD trailer. I would have presumed you were playing it on they would have set it up
they would have given all the bells and the whistles, and it was
a
nice TV. It was PS4 Pro, and
so how did it?
Yeah, it looked fine. Like really, really good. Like it reminded me of kind of like, I wouldn't say like that high fidelity, like Pixar style animation. It's not going for that like your Ratchet and Clank kind of look, but it's kind of a cross between, I don't know if you've played Broken Age from Double Fine.
Yep.
If you mix that with like Coraline.
Coraline, that is my example. So Coraline is what I think of when I see the art style, except for not as like
it's not
as many
as
colors, but it's more the design of the characters and the geography of the world and whatever else that reminds me of Coraline. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking as well. So I like that you've if my mind's saying that and you're saying that, then that's
it's exactly what it is. And there's a couple of things throughout that I don't know if they were just like homages to Coraline or just happened to line up, but it definitely is very Coraline-y.
Yeah, so just with I mean, it's going to be really dark at points, and then you're going to light up the world, and it's going to be all pretty. Yep. I'm really looking forward to the idea of having this game where it just starts so dark and nasty, I guess. But then by the end of the game, if I've 100% of it, I've got all the collectibles and stuff, and then I'll just have these areas that are all, they'll just all be lit up and bright and whatever else, and I'll feel like a real hero and stuff like that. How much of the story can you touch on, or how much more did you kind of get to see apart from the idea of like Ash is this character who's being bullied, the pages get torn out, blah, 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 blah. Is there anything you can say more than that without spoiling too much?
That's pretty much the premise of that first like hour or so that I played, where it sets up what you're trying to do in Denska and why you're trying to relight the town. He kind of believes that he can restore it to how it used to be, because the very start of the game, like the game itself has a cool art style, like we were just saying, but the cutscenes that want to make you feel stuff, or like Ash's thoughts, he actually draws in his sketchbook, and they come up like a completely different art style. It's completely all like hand-drawn sketch, and it looks really cool. And that's the very start of the game, and he's kind of like drawing how Denska used to be. And then it goes through to reveal that he's trying to kind of restore Denska back to how he used to remember it.
How old would you say the character is then? Are they remembering from when there was like a child or something then, I guess, if they're only like teens or whatever that
I'd
sort
say
of
he's
age.
probably like early high school age if they're going for the bullying scenario kind of thing. And
so it must be like memories from when they were quite young then, I guess.
Yep.
Was there any other characters that you interacted with at all, apart from the
your genies?
Just the genies?
The genies.
So, like there's no random townspeople or anything like that you're bumping into?
No.
That you saw?
Not that I ran into, but he does interact and talk with his genies at times. Like, who knows? It could end up that the end of the game, he's a mentally deranged kid who talks to his imaginary friends, and Denska was never really nice and beautiful. We could just have these unexpected, unrealistic goals for the town, but there was some story stuff set around the start of the boss battle, but I can't talk about that because it kind of spoils where things might go, and they've asked not to.
Cool, no problem. All right, let's go over the VR modes then quickly as well, because they announced these. Was it at the start of the year or late last year or something like that?
I think it was around the time that they announced it was. I think it was last year, because when they announced the game's delayed into 2019. Yeah. But here's
But you're getting VR mode, so everyone be happy. Even though I'm sure there's a small amount of people who actually have VR headsets. So yeah, there's two modes for it. One's a mini type story thing, I guess, and then the other one's like more of a painting thing.
Yeah.
Did you get to try out
I played the
both?
painting thing.
Sorry?
I tried out the painting one.
Painting thing?
Yeah.
Yep. So how was that?
It was really cool and actually really immersive. And it's similar to like Dreams. If you've played anything from Dreams, it kind of gives you the tools to make some really cool stuff, even if you're not artistic at all. And so it started out, I was in a cave, and you can look fully around you, except maybe right behind you. I can't remember if that was completely filled in, but basically similar to building genies, you're standing there first person. You have Ash's sketchbook in one hand. You got to use the move controllers. One hand controls your magical paintbrush. One hand holds out his sketchbook, kind of like a painting palette. And in it, there's a whole bunch of icons for the templates that you've got. So it could be grass, could be fire, could be trees, could be flowers. And you pretty much just tap on it, and then you can start painting on the wall. And it makes them look nice. So you just have to kind of paint the general shape, and then a tree will grow there, and grass will grow there. You can set the height that you want certain trees to grow and things like that. You can put in suns, moons, things like that, and make them brighter, softer. And then once you've lit up enough of the light bulbs within this cave, which you had to just paint under them to do it. So pretty much once you've filled the 3 walls around you, the cave bursts open and you're standing fully in an open field. And just a grassy field. There is a screenshot of it in the preview. And from there, you're able to fully 3D paint around you. You're pretty much just standing in an environment. There's a little, I'll call him like an imp, if you've played Dreams, that's in front of you, and he kind of like has this thought bubble that comes out of his head and goes, "Oh, I'm thinking of fire." So you lay down a fire or something, and he gives you rewards for it. But basically, the scene starts you with like laying down the grass petals, and then you can put flowers in and build your trees, and you can just make like this really nice kind of like cherry blossom scene around you. And then it asks you to like put in a moon, and then you put in the moon into the sky and it changes it into a nighttime scene, and then everything that you've already got, all your grass templates, your tree templates and everything like that, they change colors to match the nighttime scene. So your grass is now like purple with like highlights that can be yellow and things like that. And it allowed you to make some like really cool and calming stuff without having to be artistic at all.
Yeah. Is it, so it sounds like it's obviously relaxing.
That's more what it is, yeah. It's completely like therapeutic creator zone. It's not linked to the main game at all. It's completely separate. It's like a standalone thing.
Yeah. Do you think that has, do you reckon they'll have much longevity to it? Or like people will actually want to put on there? Because obviously, putting on the headset, even if you've got the box plugged in like I do all the time, it still takes a minute or whatever, and you have to get it out and blah, 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 blah. So do you think like a therapeutic thing like this is something that a lot of people would grab onto, or just play it once? Oh,
possibly,
that was cool.
If there's more than just that decorate the grassy lands. If they had other environments or things like that, or maybe a free create mode or something like that, possibly. But I don't, with it being so isolated and not linked to the main game, because I actually ask, is like things I make in here, will they appear in the main game? Can I make custom genies in here? And from what I was told, it's no. So if you were able to export those maybe to social media, and you can let
dreams.
Yeah. Well, don't get too carried away. But yeah, if you're able to like export and share them online, maybe. If it's just pretty much you diving in to put some trees up and feel good about yourself for half an hour, maybe not.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. So it just depends how it comes out on the other end. Did they say anything, or did you see anything from the other VR mode at all, or was it just
that's all I played?
Yeah,
so it was about an hour and a half preview, and it was about an hour or so for just free run around, play it from the start of the game, the boss battle, which took about 5 minutes, and then jumped into the VR and just stood there waving my arms around.
Cool. So yeah, wrapping up, I guess it's a exclusive PlayStation exclusive that is coming out at the end of the year. A lot of people obviously, well, not even obviously, I reckon a lot of people may not even know it exists at this point.
Yeah.
Is it a game that you think people should be really looking forward to and should be hyped about, especially in this landscape we live in now where PlayStation seems, all their like exclusives over the last couple of years are like God of War, Spider, like these massive things. Now they're like, yeah, our October exclusive is Concrete Genie. Like, do you think it's going to do well? Do you think people should be excited for it?
I think it'll do fine. But like you said, it won't have the marketing push. You won't see it on your buses. You won't see it on your train stations. It's not in the same level as God of War or anything like that. And you can tell that it doesn't have the same budget. And as we know, the team's tiny. But what they've made, I'm actually really excited for. And from what I've seen of the story so far, yeah, it's got me. It's set it up in a way that it kind of contextualizes the collectathon.
Yeah,
and why you're doing it. So from what I've seen, I really enjoy it. It's coming out at a reasonable price point for what it is, and it has a couple.
$40?
Yeah, about $40, I believe. And well, that's recommended retail. So who knows, your JBs or something out here might do it for $30.
Yeah,
if you get lucky. But yeah, from what I've seen, I'd say it's something. If you haven't checked it out already, go check out a few trailers or see if it's something that might interest you, because it's a good blend, like I said, between kind of a good traditional collectathon and some really artsy stuff that can make some beautiful things.
Yep. Cool. So if that wasn't enough about Concrete Genie for you, once again, make sure you check out Joel's preview. It will be in the description down below, of course. And then check out Joel over at anygame.com as well. I'll have links to all the applicable Twitter's, socials, website links, all the things. They will be down below, and I'll be plugging them again at the end of the show, which we'll get back to the show now. Okay, so we actually have a lot of PlayStation news this week, on top of the Concrete Genie stuff that I just went over with Joel, which of course is because it's what a nice boy. On top of that stuff, which is really good because obviously PlayStation exclusive, we did have ChinaJoy 2019 this past week, which is in case you can't gather from name, it was a Chinese gaming event thing with PlayStation showed off.
Sure, it was joyful.
It was very joyful. Well, we'll get into if it was joyful in a minute, because boy, there's a fucking hilarious story. I was reading this shit last night. Fuck, I was laughing. It is golden, and I can't wait to. But so they showed off. How many we got? I think it's like 9 or something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we got 11 trailers that they showed off here. Some of these things we have talked about before back in episode 101, which was called F.I.S.T Game of the Year or whatever, is where we've talked about a bunch of these games before, but we will be going over them right here again, of course. So let's get stuck into them. Some of them are really super interesting, but they are all compared to the past few weeks where we've had no news. I tell you what, I will take random fucking games I don't care about at this stage. So the first one they showed off was Hero the Monkey in a game called Monkey King Heroes Back, which is based on an animated film that I completely forgot about until I Googled it, and I was like, oh yeah, I vaguely remember seeing a poster for that or something like that. That came out a couple of years ago, called Hero Monkey King or something like that. That was
exactly what I said before is what it's called.
Oh shit. So that was a movie I never watched, but you may have seen a poster for as well. And this is based on that or something like that. And it kind of just looks like a anime fighting game, I guess. Is that how would you describe this?
Yeah, it looks like one of the Dragon Ball Z games, but not as good.
Yeah, that's pretty good way to describe it. See, third person fighting game. A lot of it in the trailer is like up in the sky. You're fighting like small people, characters the same size, and then like at some stage you also see fighting some giant fucking thing. I'm not super interested. Says by the way, I'm reading all these from Push Square news stories, so I'll just mention that right here. It says there's still no word on the date, but is scheduled to deploy overseas, although latest rumors suggest that THQ Nordic will publish this in Western Shores, which I could see. This seems like something that,
seems like something up their avenue.
Yeah, seems like something they'll do. The next game is, now I remember last time we talked about this, we struggled how the fuck do you even pronounce this, so try again. ANNO Mutationem.
Mutationem.
I fucking don't know. Yeah, so this is a brand new trailer for this one. A very cyber. Well, I don't know. It's not really cyberpunk. Oh, yeah, I guess yes. Cyberpunk. It's cyberpunk, but the art style is pixel artish. I guess. Yeah, pixel art. I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's got this combination of some parts are like side scrolling, I guess, and then other parts it looks like you're running down. It looks like you're running down like nearly Persona 5, like Tokyo, you know.
Yeah, it looks almost 3D at certain points, which is weird.
Yeah, it's a very interesting pixel art style. I like the look of it.
Yeah,
I like the character designs I'm seeing. The combat looks potentially fun, but it's one of those things where I'm like, I don't know, like if it runs really janky, it would be fucking terrible to play, and it's hard to tell in the video, of course. But the art style looks really cool. I don't remember what we said about this one the first time, but it says, you know, we still have no release date for this. I remember last time being like, this looks cool. My feelings this time are, this looks cool.
Still looks cool.
I fucking hate the name though, because there's no world in which I'm going to be like, if this is coming out, like if they announce a date, I'm going to be like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm excited for ANNO.
Listen, if you've got a weird name for your game, in the trailer, you need to make sure that somebody says the name of your game. You need to hire a voiceover person to say,
just record,
ANNO Mutation.
Just record Siri.
Yeah, get Siri to say it.
Do what you need to do. Because I'm just going to call it ANNO from now on, let's be real. The next game is Undying. We as in the games industry, have seen this quite recently because it was announced in one of the... It was
part of the Kind of Funny Games Daily Show, E3 showcase.
Yeah. It was one... I was like, it was either that or the direct the week before, but I couldn't remember. But yeah, so it's the exact same trailer that they played during the Kind of Funny thing then. Nothing different about it, but if you haven't seen that or didn't know about it, it's a game that's going to follow the story of this mother protecting her child, I guess. And you're going to go around what seems like potentially an open world-ish area, I guess, but the art style has everyone's faces as like blank.
They look like little mannequins.
Yeah. That's a good way to describe it. Everyone looks like little mannequins, and they're zombies, and I guess it's going for like a Walking Dead type
that was
emotional storytelling thing. It's really hard to gather from the trailer if it'll be good or not, but I was intrigued enough doing a kind of funny thing, I guess, because I'm like, well, you know, like if the story is really well written, then sure, I'm possibly in. If it's just another like zombie game and they fucking kill the adult dies at the end and the kid has to go on, it's like boo-hoo, I did this in Walking Dead season 1. I'm not going to get too excited about it, but at least we know that's coming to PlayStation as well now the game that we're all here to talk about is one that came up next. F.I.S.T, also standing for fucking is the best game ever.
The S and the T are silent.
Yeah, the S and the T are silent. That's right. This thing. So if you haven't listened to episode 101, F.I.S.T is a game in which you play as a rabbit, and you got all these other monsters and stuff around this like neo-punk fucking Tokyo looking city or something like that, whatever you want to call it. And you got this rabbit and he's in like a suit or whatever, giant fucking fist hand, all sorts of different gadgets, assortment of ways to take out your enemies.
When you say fist hand, it's like a third hand.
Yeah, third hand, like a mechanical third hand. And I don't mean his penis.
Yeah.
But that could be upgradable. Fourth hand. Yeah, fourth hand potentially incoming. But this trailer gives us a lot gives us a lot of gameplay, whereas the first trailer was mostly like a CGI thing. It showed like a couple of seconds of gameplay, but this trailer definitely has a lot more gameplay in it, which is really exciting. And I absolutely, as much as I was nearly going to turn it into a meme after my original thoughts on this back early in the year with that episode, this looks really fucking good, and I'm standing by. This looks really cool. The environments, the art style, the design of these characters, the combat looks really fun. I'm not memeing anymore. This looks really good. What do you think? What do you think, Lou?
Yeah, it looks pretty impressive. I mean, even just the backgrounds and stuff look like pretty in depth and worked on. So I enjoy the trailer where these random characters show up and they get like a title drop.
Yeah,
it's like
can't read it, but
damn. Can't read it, but
yeah,
that's cool.
And I think I said the same thing the first time, but the world or the city this is taking place in just reminds me of Midgar from Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah,
is what it looks like.
I can see the resemblance.
Yeah. And also the interesting thing to point out for this. So the gameplay, the way you're fighting, it's like a, side-scrolly combat, fucking whatever you want to call it, Castlevania, Strider, whatever, all those sorts of games. 2.5D. Well, no, they're 3D, but whatever. But it seems that I don't know if this is how the whole game will play, and if it is, it's really interesting. But it seems, especially towards the end, you see this thing where the F.I.S.T, I think is the name of the character. Let's say it is. If not the bunny, whatever. The bunny, the cute little bunny, the cute little rabbit. It does like a bunch of combat moves, and then it cuts into like a couple second animated sequences, and then cuts back to gameplay, and then cuts back into these animation sequences when they're doing like powered up moves, which I guess is like showing you how it's going to play. Like potentially you'll be doing like if you do a special move or something like that, I guess like it's going to cut into a thing.
Like a quick time event or something.
Potentially, yeah, because it does it like several times in this last fight at the end of the trailer. But yeah, I really like the look of this. Not only the design of everything looks really exciting. I'm standing by hashtag F.I.S.T Game of the Year. Although
Shumi comes out this year.
Well, at this point it probably isn't. Let's be honest. They're showing this trailer in August. They still don't have a release date on it, so I guess hashtag F.I.S.T 2020.
2020.
Gonna beat the shit out of Trump. Go rabbit. Go. Do what you need to do over there, rabbit. So all right, moving on from F.I.S.T Game of the Year. The next one is the second best. Well, the best story of the week, honestly. My favorite fucking thing I've read all week. This is the thing I was teasing years old. This is the thing that made me laugh so much. So this game got announced. Oh, no. This game was announced previously for mobile and PC. They show a trailer for it coming to PS4. That is important for the story, I think. It's called Genshin Impact. Now, if you watch a trailer for it, you may be like, this looks sort of similar. This looks like something I've possibly seen before. And what you probably are thinking of is a little game, a little indie hit called Zelda Breath of the Wild. It looks... The environment and the characters and the art style, it's beyond inspired by. It's not a copy paste of like Zelda Breath of the Wild. That's what I'm saying, because it doesn't, like, I'm sure you're not going to be doing the exact same things as Zelda. This just looks more like an action adventure game where you're doing a lot of like butt mashy type fight stuff. But the art style, some of the characters, and the general layout of the main world, especially the first couple seconds of the trailer, the first 30 seconds or so, it's like, holy shit, this looks like Breath of the Wild. They don't show...
definitely the first like minute or so where they're outside in the grass.
In the grass.
That looks like Breath.
So much like Breath of the Wild, yeah. They do, as you get further into the trailer, they go up into some sky section and they're fighting like fucking dragon creatures or something like that. That doesn't look like Breath of the Wild. At least as far as I played. I never actually finished it because the game's so fucking long and I get sidetracked. But that doesn't look like Breath of the Wild. But the first part does look there. Now, to add to this story, and the thing that made me laugh my fucking brains out when I saw this on Twitter, Zulgex, at ZHUGEEX, who we've brought up on the show previously a couple times because they cover Asian events like Japan, China, whatever else.
Yeah.
The senior analyst at Nyko Partners, covering digital games market in China and Southeast Asia. So their Twitter profile says. They were at ChinaJoy and they had this amazing Twitter thread. It says, when Minho, which is the developer or publisher, I think. I'm not actually sure. Developer, I think. When Minho unveiled Genshin Impact for PS4, many noted the game was inspired by Breath of the Wild. Some fans of Breath of the Wild are upset that Sony is promoting this game because of the similarities. Plus, they think it's shameless of Sony. This man smashed his PS4 at ChinaJoy in protest, and it has fucking pictures. It It is amazing. This guy, there's 3 pictures. This person literally rips their PS4 out of their back. These other kids are standing around on their phone, and then you see like throw it on the ground. And these kids are all like suddenly like, what the fuck? What is going on? But then the thread, it continues. It gets even better. There's 2 more. It says, it's weird because many people, especially in the West, do not care too much that this developer has been inspired by Breath of the Wild. But I've seen some online comments in China where people are taking it personally and upset that the game is, quote, copying too much. So, and then the next tweet in this 3-part thread says, seems he wasn't the only one protesting, lol. And then it has 3 pictures of these people outside of inside ChinaJoy, where the game's been shown, and they're holding up their Switches and Breath of the Wild copies with their fucking middle fingers up it.
I mean, it's nice to know the middle finger is like a universal
thing. It works.
It goes across languages. Everybody, it's a universal understanding.
This is amazing.
A bit rich that Chinese people are complaining about copying something.
Yeah, no, that's what everyone in the literally everyone in the response here is like, lol, China, like anyone from China complaining about their game developers, copying. And because everyone knows most of the developers there, like especially their mobile market and stuff, is just copy paste resources, like what they make their thing. But this thread had me at a loss last night. I was laughing at the dude whipping out his PS4. I have not seen someone smash a console in protest for a good while, and I had a good laugh.
Yeah.
And then people holding up their Switches, giving the old finger, absolutely fucking golden. This is one of the best stories I've seen in quite some time.
Incredible. I mean, it looks a little bit like Breath of the Wild, but I think it clearly has enough different about it that. I mean, it doesn't look like it plays like Breath of the Wild at all.
No, it's heavily inspired by, like it's beyond. It's that Ubisoft game where they just straight up admitted this game's inspired by Breath of the Wild, and I guarantee when we see that, you'll be like, oh yeah, I get how they were inspired by, but it won't look like this. This game is like heavily inspired by
that one section.
But you don't know if
I don't know how much of that is
exactly. That's the thing. I mean, whatever. The top comment in the YouTube comment was like Breath of the Waifus or some shit like that was the top top YouTube comment or something like that, which was pretty funny. It doesn't really interest me. It's as that person's comment said, it is anime girls running around just doing combat stuff, whatever. Not terribly interesting, but that story was hilarious.
Yep. Well, can't play Breath of the Wild on PlayStation, so
that's true. Now you can. Now you can do what you need to do. The next game is one we'd seen before previously, and I don't think it's at all interesting. This new trailer didn't do anything for me at all. It's called Evotinction. It's like I fucking hate the title for this shit too. It's like let's combine the word evolution and extinction.
Evotinction.
Evotinction. Fuck this title. Fuck all these fucking titles. Anyway, the game is like a Metal Gear Solid-ish third-person stealth game where you're trying to sneak around a bunch of drones and robots and whatever, and it looks like you can hack them and do stuff like that. I don't think it looks super exciting. And did this interest you at all?
No, not interested.
Yeah, the next one was called Biped, which we hadn't seen before. This one I thought looked pretty damn cool. Because it's also filling a genre that we don't actually get that many games of, unless you go to PAX, where a lot of the games are split-screen co-op games. But especially from this marketplace, it was good to see something like this here, I guess. It is a co-op game where you play as two cute little robots with legs, I guess, and it looks like throughout the game you'll just have to do a bunch of puzzles together that range from, your typical put this blocks on this thing and do this thing to like having to glide along two poles and switch a log between each other so you can like hit the right things and whatever. It looks like it's got a good combination of having to actually potentially rely on like voiceover, like to be able to communicate the right things to do. It doesn't look like you could play this with random, I guess, which is kind of cool. So hopefully it's fucking online as well. So I think it looks cute. I like the art style. Would be down to play this as long as it has online, obviously, is our biggest pet fee. Did you like the look of this one?
Yeah, it definitely looks like a #cuties game. So I got Portal 2 vibes,
the robots?
Atlas and whatever the other one was called.
The
other robot.
Yeah, I can't remember, but yeah. Wheatley.
Yeah. No. I can't remember what they're called.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, definitely looks cute. Definitely 2-player co-op and a little fun adventure. Or it could just be like the brothers game, We just don't realize it yet.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. Don't know. The next
I doubt it though. It definitely looks co-op.
Mate, yeah. The next one I have nothing for. Romance of the Three Kingdoms. It was a very short CGI trailer. Some fucking like, I guess, Dynasty Warriors akin game. That's all I got. I've got nothing. I give 0 fucks. Do you care at all?
Not really, other than I found out from listening to the most recent House of Mario that obviously Koei Tecmo was heavily involved in the new Fire Emblem. Mm-hmm. So if they add some of those elements to this, probably not. No. This is a long-standing franchise that's probably got nothing to do with it.
Yep. I would be highly surprised. And then the last three are all ones we have seen before previously, but they all got new trailers. So the first one is In Nightmare, which is this, I believe last time we described it, both kind of agreed it was giving sort of Tim Burton, Coraline-ish, like I don't know, like that sort of horror vibe where like there are spooky things happening, but at the same time you're playing as like this kid or whatever, and it's got an interesting art style and whatever else, and I don't know, it's intriguing. It doesn't look it's not like spooky constantly like a first person like upcoming like it's like an Outlast game or something. It's definitely more in line with like the story mentions here, Little Nightmares, I guess, which is that one that came out a couple of years ago. More in line with that, I guess, as a horror game. What do you reckon of this one?
Yeah, I'm not going to play this one.
Yeah.
But, whatever.
I really didn't think so.
Yeah, it looks a bit spookies with the puzzle elements and that sort of thing. So It's like a puzzle adventure game, I guess.
Yep. The next
There's
one,
something chasing you.
yeah, I think there's a combination, but most of the gameplay shows off a ghost thing or whatever. The next one is A.I Limit, which last time we mentioned that it basically looks like the near the game, the near game, the same sort of character and stuff like that. Except for the latest trailer does show off a little bit more of combat and stuff because the original one didn't actually show off much combat. So it's, third person. You're running around. Well, the area you're running around doesn't super intrigue me because it's like underground or some shit, and it all looks very samey. That's the only thing I don't like about it. I'm like, can we, potentially have some green in here? I don't know, like some new colors or whatever.
There's no green in this world.
No,
just black and blue.
That other game fucking took everything. But yeah, so it looks like the combat though will be hate to say it, but Bloodborne or Dark Soulsy inspired type thing because it seems like they're locking on, they're making sure to dodge correctly, and you're only taking on one enemy. So I don't know if that's what they're going for. It's like near character design anime girl thing, I guess, with fucking action RPG elements, whatever. So I'm intrigued. I need to see more though, because as I said, just been stuck underground for 15 hours and that thing doesn't super intrigue me. And then the last one was Convallaria. No, whatever the fuck, which is the massive MMO like thing. We discussed this one last time as well, of course, except for the new trailer here. We do get to see a bit more of how the gameplay and stuff will work. So third person action shooter. I think you can do melee as well. I don't know, but everyone's got guns and whatever else. But yeah, it's just
Chinese Destiny.
There you go. That's it. That is it. I mean, there's not much else that you can say other than that. Yeah, so it's the one where they were like saying you can play with heaps of players and whatever else. So if a third person MMO, you know what game we're talking about here. You know what sort of gameplay we're talking about here. You can picture it. You don't even need to see it. You know if this is up your alley or not, I guess. But that is it.
The thing is, it's got jetpacks. That's
It looks all right.
That's what differentiates it.
Yeah, I mean, like graphically, the art style and stuff makes it look actually all right, but of course, it just looks like it's a lot of
simplistic.
It looks like it's just a lot of repetitive. Go here, shoot thing, shoot thing, return, go here, shoot thing. Which to be fair, a lot of people like those sorts of games, I guess, and that's cool for them. Good for them. Here's another one, and like the Chinese market likes those sorts of games. We know that, so that's fits.
Yes, VR for the players.
Okay, Ash, you've played a few VR things.
Yes.
I saw you was knocking some stuff out.
Yeah, I play it because of the winter sale. I picked up both BoxVR and Blood and Truth. Mm-hmm. I only really scratched the surface of both, so I haven't played a hell of a lot of each. BoxVR is painful. I was just stretching first.
My quick side story on the because I do want to hear more about your Box VR thing, but because I talk in case in case someone's first time listening or whatever, I picked this up ages when it first released on PSVR. I really like it to the point I actually re-picked it up on my Oculus Quest, and that's where I will now just play it because I can put that thing on a lot faster and just do like a half-hour Box VR session type thing or whatever. But as I mentioned when I talked about it, it is game. It's actually like it's an exercise. It's a legit exercise thing.
It is, yeah.
So yeah. How's that feel?
Yeah, and because of that, I'm not too concerned about getting the correct scores and that sort of thing.
Yeah, fuck the scores.
Or just getting it right, because sometimes my timing's not great, but you're getting the movement. I like tells you all the information, that kind of thing. It's fine. I mean, you just do it for 15, 20 minutes and then you feel better. Well, at first you don't feel better.
As I said, do you feel better or was you hurting?
At first you don't feel better, but later you'll feel better. But yeah.
Yeah, it's like, you can definitely feel a difference. So you know what I mean? Because I think I talked this up when I brought it up the original time, is that it's like Beat Saber, if you play for a lot of time, sure, you can get a decent like workout out of it, I guess. But Beat Saber isn't designed for that. But it's just like if you play it for long enough or whatever, or you're not used to it, then sure, you can cause some pain. But Beat Saber isn't designed as a workout game. This one is solely designed as a worker game. Sure, it tries to give you scores and shit. None of that fucking matters. Who gives a shit about the scores and whatever else? The whole thing is just designed as a workout game. And I do think that VR has a really good ability to make games like this. And I kind of like that they can make heaps of like games like this and that they can work quite well. So yeah.
Well, I think just the punching motions, it just takes more out of you than the swiping.
Have you had to do many any of the levels or the
not yet
with there's ones with heaps of squats and stuff as well?
Not yet, no.
So we'll see how that goes. Are you gonna keep going though?
A few squats, slightly dodge it. Yeah, I'll keep going. Yeah. I'm gonna try and do it once a day, but we'll see how that goes. Or how much
get buff for packs.
Commit to that. Yeah. How many days? 68?
Yeah, 68 days to get buff for patch. Hashtag ashbash pash for packs. Whatever that was, it just came out of my mouth.
Words coming out of your mouth, yeah.
And Blood and Truth. How are you going with
Blood and Truth, again, I've barely gotten through. I got through past the first escape, and then yeah, that's how far I've gotten so far, just to scratch the surface, because I'd opened it up and I don't know, the calibration wasn't going super well the first time I did it. Really? I was super tired because I just did BoxVR, and so I didn't touch it for another little while, and then I saw you put it on the schedule. I'm like, shit, I better play some of this so I can talk about it a bit. But yeah, it seems fun so far. Like, it's basic, like, arcade shooter, you know, like at an actual arcade, light gun shooter. I don't know, sometimes the guns don't quite react perfectly to the move controllers, but that's just, I suspect that's just because of the move controllers.
Yeah.
But everything else pretty good so far.
Enjoying the...
I took your advice and did the cinematic mode, I think. I did die though, so not sure if it was set on.
Did you love I love the opening to that game. Did you love the part like where you come through the plane and it like you get picked up by your brother and it's like,
yeah, this is nice. It felt very cinematic.
Yeah, I love the way it
definitely felt like the beginning of a Bond movie. Or something.
I like that. And like you're sitting there in the car and are you enjoying the British, or are you like finding it a bit silly?
No, I'm fine with the British. The British are okay in my book.
No, it's very heavy. It's very heavy on being like, we're fucking
feels very
British
much like
gets the game. Fuck you, you know, like
yeah.
It's very heavy on it.
Very whatever part of Britain it is they're talking in.
London, mate. I don't know.
Could be. I don't know.
Yeah. I swear I saw you try something else that didn't have trophies. Or was I dreaming that?
Might have been dreaming that. Oh no, I put the Homecoming the Spider-Man experience in.
Did you like that?
Yeah, I didn't like that.
No.
Not really. It's not very good.
It's better than
I got up to the monster bit and then I'm like, what the hell am I meant to be doing? It doesn't. I keep webbing stuff and nothing happens, so.
It's better than the first one though.
I mean, at least you can swing through the streets.
Yeah.
That's it. That felt alright.
The swinging does feel okay.
There.
Yeah, there is potential.
Something.
There. It's like proof of concept, I guess. It's like, could swinging as Spider-Man work in VR? And it's like, yeah. Seems like it could.
Yeah. So, you know, Insomniac, if you want to put a VR bit into Spider-Man,
go for it.
Yeah.
Do it. Yeah, you can.
Except you do all the spins. That might be a bit awkward.
Yeah, that might be a bit tough. you can get like, you can literally get to a point where you can like swing between a bunch of buildings, like double grapple, I guess, towards a building, pull yourself towards it, run up it. Right as you reach the top, press the button to jump, and you'll kind of launch yourself up into the air, and then like point your web shooters down at the roof, pull yourself really fast down to the roof, run to the edge of the roof, and then jump off. Like I was doing stuff like that where I'm like, well, that all felt really cool because it like, you know, I was doing everything I wanted to and launching myself and whatever. So it wasn't perfect, but I was like, yeah, as you're saying, like the swing stuff is good. The story mode thing where you fight that boss was not very good. I finished it just to see if anything happened, but I was very bored. I didn't like it very much. And then one piece of news, there's not much to discuss here. I just wanted to mention it so everyone kind of knows, because we'll talk about it when it releases. But we finally do have a release date for No Man's Sky's VR update. No Man's Sky Beyond is coming out on August 14th is when that's going to go live. And then basically everyone who's playing No Man's Sky around the world will be sitting there with the little headsets on and going crazy and doing all those sorts of things, which will be me as well, because I've been excited. Like, I gave zero fucks about ever going back to that game, but the second they announced VR, I was like, yes, because that's how I would have liked to have played it in the first place. I think it just seems like a good game to.
It's crazy. Again, another thing that we all thought was going to be there at launch, but it took a little while to come.
It took like 4 or 5 years. I don't know. It took ages. A few years.
Is it that old?
I swear it is. Isn't it? Let's type it in. No Man's Sky. Yeah. What's it say? What's Google say? No Man's Sky released 2016. So yeah, 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah. That's close to 4 or 5 or whatever I'll say.
Yeah, very accurate.
I wasn't that far off. I wasn't like double, but yeah. So that's out in a couple of weeks, and we were talking about that. So, but in case you want to get excited too, now you know. In case you missed the news. Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of Platinum Explosion. Of course, make sure you check out Joel over on Twitter, our special guest for the week at Joel Gralton at JoelGralton, and then follow Anigame on Twitter as well at Anigame_AU, ANIGAME_AU, as well as Anigame.com. And I'll have all relevant links to all the things, including his Concrete Genie preview that we mentioned, of course, in the description for this here video. So make sure you check all those things out. Covers anime and video games. That's something we don't do. We don't do anime. No. He's got us fucked there. He's really fucked us.
He's got that market.
He's got the market covered.
I think we've talked about anime before, but
no, we can't. Go check out Joel over at Anigame, of course. You follow me on Twitter at Vivaladil, Vivaladil. You can follow Ash on Twitter at Ashley Hobley, ASHLEYHOBLEY. You can follow this show on Twitter at Platt Podcast, and you can help out the show by giving us a review on either Apple Podcasts or Podchaser, or alternatively, write a tweet that says, hey, this episode was pretty funny when you laughed at the ChinaJoy thing doing stuff, not in the racist way.
He threw it on the ground.
He threw it on the ground. Yeah, and just threw it on. What's that? That's a song by
Lonely Island, yeah.
Yeah, Lonely Island. There you go. They threw it on the ground. What a great song. Tweet us at that, and then we'll retweet it. That's a good way to help out the show, of course, if you don't do all those things. You can join our Discord. We're chatting about games, ask for trophy tips, send in questions, and I'll do all the fun things over explosionnetwork.com/Discord. And this is, of course, a product of the Explosion Network, of which you can find many more shows, articles, news, reviews, and things at explosionnetwork.com. And you can follow Explosion Network on Twitter at ExplosionPod. Until next week, remember that every trophy counts. Every Saturday, listen to a brand new episode of Arcade Couch, the Explosion Network's variety video game podcast. Sit back, relax on the best couch to chill with your friends and hear about the latest industry news, as well as our opinions on the latest releases and what we've been playing. Just search your podcasting app for Arcade Couch and subscribe for free now. Like now. Do it.
I mean, we've talked about the Ni no Kuni anime a bunch.
No, we're fighting the market. We're trying to take over the territory. He hasn't caught on yet. Maybe one day.